Into every life some rain must fall, and the spring showers renew the earth and make green things grow. Hey Tubies, it's Lord Ision. Well, welcome to Wednesday. It's Wiccan Wednesday. I'm out walking in the rain, looking at the water, and how appropriate that we have a rainy day, because we're going to talk about a water elemental being today, a fish god. Hang with us. By the way, for those of you who've been following me for a while, you may remember last year I filmed this tree, and I said, look at that poor pitiful thing, it's shorn down to nothing. Well, and then it grew. Well, guess what? They shorn it down to nothing again. And as you can see, the poor thing looks pitiful. Kind of embarrassed, I think, you know. But, as we know, once it's all pruned away, this summer it will be lush and green and beautiful. So, it's back again in its bare state, looking a little nervous. That's a great day to be walking. It's a gentle rain, and it's not too cold out here. It's quite warm, actually. We're going to go and just relax a little bit, have some lunch, and later today we'll talk about the fish god. So hang with us. You know, as I'm walking along, I noticed these trees. I think these are maple, little Japanese maples, maybe. I can't remember, but I think they're maples, but they'll soon be in bloom. And I love these because they look kind of bonsai-like. And you know I'm crazy about bonsai trees. Well, let's go get some lunch. Well, Tubies, I arrived at Shooter McGee's. I'm safely ensconced in my booth and watching the rain outside the windows. It's a great day just to curl up and have some comfort food. And I'm sitting there sipping a Coke until my lunch arrives. Some kind of good. By the way, I'm starting on a new and fascinating book. You know, I usually have like 5 books going at one time. In addition to The Outsiders, I just started reading this book, Secrets of the Crystal Silence League. And this is written by a man who was a famous medium in the early 1900s, Claude Alexander Conlon. He was just known as Alexander the Seer. And he would channel spirits and messages through the crystal ball. And he started an amazing group, a worldwide group called the Crystal Silence League. And in this book, it talks about how to enter into the mystical silence and use the crystal for magic. Really, really fascinating stuff. It's got great artworks in it. Look, there's a mystic Swami. Like every page has like practically amazing graphics about working with the crystal ball. Look at that. Isn't that cool? This is a reprint of the original book, which was published in like 1920. So it's from the 1920s era. And the graphics are original to it as well, so it's just really cool. But according to this book, he started this organization, and the group, it's a group called the, what was it called? The Independent Spiritual Church decided to refound it. It died out in the 1950s. And then about 10 years ago, they reopened and started the Crystal Silence League. So I'm reading this book. I'm thinking about joining the Crystal Silence League because they have a ritual where they work every day with the crystal. Anyways, I'll tell you more about it. I think next Wednesday, on Wiccan Wednesday, I'll talk about the Crystal Silence League and show you some of their techniques. It's not secret. It's public for anybody to know who wants to know. But yeah, so we'll check that out. Isn't that a great picture? Actually, to give you a better idea of this book, I forgot there's a little summary on the back here. It says Secrets of the Crystal Silence League. I just love this book. So let me read it to you. It says, Dedicants of the Crystal Silence League, send thoughts and prayers of joy, health, strength, love, success, and protection to all, and in turn receive the fruits of mutually supported prayer. If you're able to join our worldwide band, when your view of the sun is morning fresh, and again as nighttime falls, as the earth speeds and spins around the sun, so do the hours succeed one another around this busy globe. As one mind finishes the prayer, another takes it up, always moving westward, steadily westward, a torch of mind passed in a relay race of love and purpose and will. Catch the thoughts arising from the east each morning and send your thoughts to those abiding in the west each night. It says, now is the hour. Let us work for results now. So this is kind of cool because they work with crystals and transfer thought and send magic energy to people. I don't know, I just think it's kind of cool. So I think next Wednesday I'll talk more about that. Because today we got to talk about the fish god. And by the way, if you missed yesterday's video, we did a live stream messages from this video. It was so much fun. And I hope you guys will go and see it. If you didn't see it, it's in the queue right before this video. Check it out. And I showed a wonderful piece of art that I recently acquired. It's a Waterford crystal fish. And a lot of you say how much you enjoyed seeing my crystal fish. So if you didn't see that, check it out. It's in the queue right before this one. Oh, Tubies, I got my lunch. I was so ravenous, I dove into it without filming it. But here's part of it. I got a steak and cheese special with tater tots and a cold Coke. I'm living like a king. Best. Well, Tubies, I finished lunch. I'm heading home. Oh, I got my glasses. I'm heading home. Our Sun Lord is nowhere to be found, and rain is coming down. But I like the rain, the gentle spring rain. So it's cleansing the earth and renewing our souls. Let's go home. Come on. Hey, Tubies, it's Psychic Bob. Well, I am back home safe and sound. The rain is coming down out there. It's almost like you can swim like a fish in the puddles. Well, speaking of rain and water and fish, if you weren't here yesterday, you missed seeing the giant fish that I got. We're going to talk about that in just a minute. But I want to talk to you about the concept of the fish god. Now, you know, in Wicca, we always talk about the horned lord, who's usually shown as connected to goats or deer, like Cernunnos or Pan. But you know that in the ancient Near East, they worshipped a fish god. And the most powerful fish god of the day was called Dagon. Let me put some pictures of Dagon up here for you. Check these out. I find the concept of a fish god very fascinating because in Wicca, we equivocate the sea, the ocean, with the goddess. But in some cultures, it's considered to be the realm of the god. For example, the ancient Romans believed in Neptune, who is god of the sea. The ancient Greeks called him Poseidon. So the sea was associated with male energy. But in the Near East, in ancient Mesopotamia, ancient Babylon, they associated the sea with a god. And the predominant god of the day was Dagon. What's interesting is that if you read in the Bible, I don't have my Bible here, but there's a big contest between the followers of Dagon and the followers of Yahweh or Jehovah. Yahweh is the Hebrew name of ancient Israel. And supposedly the statue, the idol of Dagon, got tipped over in the temple, in his own temple. And they say that Yahweh did that. And according to the story, that was a sign of Yahweh's superiority. Well, I don't know, who can say? But I'll tell you, Dagon might have been toppled in ancient Israel, but he made a comeback in later day science fiction. The famous author of horror and science fiction, H.P. Lovecraft, wrote a series of stories called the Cthulhu Mythos. And the Cthulhu Mythos was about an ancient race of gods that were buried beneath the ocean, that at some point, the story is that they will arise. And there are various stories where the rising begins. And throughout the stories of H.P. Lovecraft, there is a mystical group called the Order of Dagon. It's a kind of a new church that forms. And its worship is the worship of the god Dagon, who is a god of the deep. Anyways, there are a number of movies out. You can look up the Esoteric Order of Dagon and research more about it. But what's interesting to me is that this idea of a fish god is still floating around in various parts of the world. There may even be some Wiccans who worship Dagon. I'm not familiar with any, but I say to my concept goes back to Doreen Virtue said, or not Doreen Virtue, excuse me. Was it Dream Virtue? Excuse me, I made a mistake. It wasn't Dream Virtue. It was Dion Fortune, who was an occult writer. Dion Fortune, back in the 1930s, Dion Fortune said, all gods are one god and all goddesses are one goddess. And so I think that if you're a Wiccan and you want to worship the concept of the god as a fish god, I don't have a problem with that. I think that's totally valid because, you know, all the gods are representation of the one god. So whether you call him Dagon or Cernunnos or Pan or Osiris or Dionysus, it's still the god. So for those of you who are interested in working with the fish god, you might want to just set up a little altar to the fish god. So if you want to work with Dagon the fish god or any other fish god deity, Dagon's the most famous of them all, you want to set up an altar. Now, one of the things you can do is you can put up a picture of Dagon on your altar. My printer's broken right now, so I can't print out an image for you. But you can also put up a statue. Now, I have not been able to find any statues of the god Dagon, which is surprising in our modern day pagan world. But what symbol represents Dagon? Well, the fish. And I have a number of fish sculptures here. This is the one I showed you yesterday, which is a Waterford crystal fish. It's a giant salmon jumping. And this would be a great symbol to represent Dagon, a giant fish. You can also put other fish imagery on your altar. So I have a bunch of crystal fishes here. This is a Lynx crystal fish. And this is a French crystal. This is a Sèvres crystal fish. So you can have multiple fish images or just one. But we'll put the fish images up here. Okay, and so this will be our main one, will be our deity of Dagon. Then you want to offer incense. In the ancient pagan world, they always had incense to the gods. So I have a beautiful Japanese porcelain incenser that looks very sea green color. If you're going to worship Dagon, you probably want to use sea sort of colors and imagery. And have an offering plate. This is a beautiful offering plate I have that looks like seawater, flowing sea. I also have this, which is a fishnet dish from Japan as an offering. Any of these would be good because, you know, like Dagon was believed to assist with the catch of fish. So he provided plenitude and prosperity for fishermen and sustained life in villages along the coast in ancient Babylon. And, you know, so incense, some offering bowls, and a form. And then, of course, you want to have some light to offer. Now, I'm out of blue candles, but you can also offer green candles. This is a green candle. It looks kind of black here, but it's actually a deep green. So green and blue are the traditional colors for the fish god. So you could set up a little altar similar to this. And then we want to just offer some incense. So here we have our incense. And we'll just go ahead and light that. Oh, well, that's flaming up. There we go. We can just put that in our incenser here. You know. Now, if you want to make offerings to Dagon, you could make offerings of really anything. If you're a fisher person, you could offer shells or fish, actually at his altar. But one of the things I thought would be nice is to offer shells. So you can have some shells like these necklaces, and you can offer those to him. You can ask him to bless them, and then at the end of the day, take them and wear them as a symbol of your consecration with Dagon. So here's a beautiful cowrie shell necklace. So we can put that in our offering bowl. And I've got some other little small shell necklaces here. And I think shells are a great way to honor Dagon, the fish god. There you go. Now sometimes Dagon is shown as half human and half fish, like a merman. But you can also show him and depict him as a fish. So we could offer these to Dagon. Now, also if you want to wear some gemstones or jewelry, you might want to explore the gemstone. Here I have a copy, not a copy, it's an actual real one, an aquamarine. This is a raw aquamarine. You can wear it cut or raw, but I like the raw, it's more natural. And this is also, you could then consecrate your pendant to Dagon, ask for his blessing, and then wear it as a token or a sign. Also, I love fish jewelry. So I have a beautiful, oops, let me get it here, a fish pendant. Check that out. Isn't that cool? So that's a reticulated fish, or articulated, I forget the word is. It moves around basically. Hold on, let me get it. Okay, so he's got little scales on his body that are jeweled scales. They're peridot scales, but isn't that beautiful? A fish pendant. So any sort of fish pendant you could wear as a sign of your devotion to Dagon and seek his protection. So, but whatever you do is, you know, if you're going to wear jewelry for him to honor him, offer it to him first, and then he'll bless it, and then he'll give it back to you. So whatever you offer the God, know that he shares it with you as a sign of his blessing. So, you know, if you give a beautiful necklace to him, know that you can also take that back and wear it, and he won't be offended. So, yeah, so there is Dagon's altar. So guys, I hope I've inspired you today to think about a new way to worship the God. Dagon is a sea god, and for those of you who want to do sea magic, sea witchcraft, Dagon might be a good god option for you. So there you go. Anyways, this is just a brief intro. I'm sure I could probably speak 6 more hours on it, but I hope that gives you an idea of some offerings, how to do a little altar, and you know, how to invoke him. Basically, to invoke him, you do it like any god. You call him. You could raise your wand. I would not recommend using the athame for an invocation. Use the wand. It's like a sign, a staff of calling. And so you could raise your wand and say, Lord Dagon, we invoke you. Come, bless us, guide us, and help us. We wish to connect with you. Really, that's simple. Don't make it complex and hard. The secret to being successful in Wicca and in magic is don't sit around and worry about till you have it perfect. Just start doing it. And as you do it, you'll refine the process, but you'll be connecting with the gods. And Dagon is a very powerful, ancient, and mystical god, and one that you might want to explore. Well, guys, thanks for being here today with us. I've had the best time. Make sure to help me out. Like this video, favorite it, thumbs up, share it with your friends, and don't forget to hit subscribe to be part of our channel. We'd love you to be here. Be back here tomorrow for Vlog Thursday. And if you didn't see yesterday's video, that's in the queue right before this one. We did Messages from the Spirit World. So you got a lot to watch. Messages from the Spirit World, Vlog Thursday coming tomorrow, and you got this today. Well, guys, listen, thanks for being here. I love you. Also, don't forget to visit my website, PsychicBob.com, and go register for my psychic development class. This Saturday, we are teaching a class on mystic light language, how to channel light language. It's the language of the spirit world and of the stars. So come out and join us. We'd love to see you. You guys are the best. I love you. I am out of here.